Hey guys, it's Decode 2020 Day 1, brought to you by Stair House, Teens Church from Harvesters International Christian Center. So Decode today will be online, yes, because social gathering, we can't have everybody together. So I'll be your host for today. My name is Oluwafunola Adesonya. So please bring out your books, bring out your Bibles. Let's avoid all forms of distractions because it promises to be amazing. So please follow us on Instagram and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And we'll be having a testimony from our members that attended Decode last year, and you'll be sharing with us how Decode has affected his life positively. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. We'll be right back.
Hello, my name is Princess Prosper. I do Ankara crafts, I do bangles, I do earrings, I do researches, I do shoes, I do bags. I'm a member of Stair House. I learned how to do Ankara jewelries in Decode 2019. I was in bead making group. My teacher, Mrs. Brownlee, she taught us how to make Ankara earrings, Ankara bangles, Ankara books. Yes, Ankara books. My mom is my first customer. She came to me saying that she had a competition of Ankara to do in her office, and she told me to make some things for her. So I decided the material she wanted to use, I could use it to do shoe for her, I could use it to do bag, I could use it to do earrings and bangles. And then I did it for her. Then she not me because she's my mom, but she still won. First, it was difficult getting customers, but with the help of my parents, I could get at least 5 orders a day. And another thing, coupled with my academics and also attending to the others, it was really difficult. So I decided I would only take orders on weekends and then focus on my academics. I'm planning on opening my own boutique and pushing my business forward. I advise my fellow teens to put their mind to what they can do, and please don't forget to put God first in all you do.
Juan! Where's this girl? I'm not the one calling you. Since that time, what are you doing?
Please, never.
Hey!
I'm going to repeat it again. Never barge into my room until I tell you to come.
When did we start talking like this? When did this one happen?
I'm telling you, my
Because you bring those your friends here, you think you can talk to me like that? Your elder brother. Eh?
You're not
Hey.
my elder brother.
What I will do to you?
You are not. Because my daddy have mistakenly married your mom.
What did you say?
Doesn't make you my elder
No,
brother.
say it again.
Because
And you want to say it?
I'm...
Eh? Joanne. See. No, it's because, I easily get angry. Joanne, sorry.
Get your hands on my lap.
Joanne, for a girl like you, should not cry now.
Get your hands on my lap.
No, now. It's me.
Get your hands on my lap.
Do this thing.
I'll hit you again if you touch me. Stop this. Help! Help! Let's go.
Welcome back, guys. I hope you have learned from that. I told you, we have amazing things in stock for you. We have an amazing message for you. So sit back, calm down. We'll be right back.
Hi teens, my name is Oyola Bode, and today I'll be exhorting us on the topic time and chance. Now, what is time? Time can be defined as treasure. That's my own definition of time. Time is simply treasure. However, Wikipedia defines time as the indefinite continued progression of events and existence from the past to the present to the future. Now, what does the Bible say about time? The Bible says in Ecclesiastes 3 verse 1 that to every season, there is a time, and to every purpose, there is a season under heaven. Now, in Ecclesiastes 9 verse 11, the Bible says that the race is not to the swift, the battle is not to the strong, bread is not to the wise, riches is not to men of skill, favor is not to men of understanding. But guess what? Time and chance happens to them all. Note, time and chance happens to them all. So let's zoom in on time and chance. Now, what is chance exactly? Chance can be defined as the probability or possibility of something happening or not happening. For example, the possibility of getting into Harvard, the possibility of becoming a superstar, the possibility of becoming famous. Now, that is chance. Now, zooming in on time and chance definitely means opportunity. Now, the fusion of time and chance together means opportunity. So think time, think chance, and think opportunity. Now, what are the features of time? Number one, time is not static, which means time is not something you can freeze, like in those sci-fi movies where you can freeze time and hop in and out of a time machine to be able to correct your mistakes. No, time is now. What you have to do now, you do now, because time waits for nobody. Number two, time is valuable. That means, just like money, you cannot just fritter away time. You need to invest in time. You need to make yourself a better person. You need to invest in making yourself better, learning an art, learning a skill. Just become that better person. Number three, time is currency. Time is a currency like money. So you need to spend time. You either spend time making yourself a better person, or you fritter time away and waste time. But then time invested, time spent wisely would always yield in the future for you in form of returns. So, having said all this, how can you make the best use of your time? Number one, be sensitive to every opportunity that comes your way. Don't just idle away doing nothing. Make sure that you're investing in your time, like I said earlier, becoming a better person. Even at this time when there is no school, you can learn a skill, learn an art, just become better, something that gives you an edge over your peers. Number two, how can you spend your time better? You spend your time better by not procrastinating. Say no to procrastination. Why? Because procrastination is the thief of time. To a procrastinator, time would never wait, because time waits for nobody. And to a procrastinator, tomorrow will never come, because a procrastinator will always say, I'll do this tomorrow, I'll do this tomorrow, I'll do this tomorrow, and time and again, tomorrow will never come. Now, tomorrow is like a mirage. You know what a mirage is? A mirage is a film, like a film of vapor on a surface. And as you approach it, it fizzles out, it disappears. That's what happens to every procrastinator. They never achieve their goals, they never achieve their aim, they never amount to anything they want to amount to. Having said all this, you also need to invest in time by putting your effort into everything that you do, putting your best foot forward and reaching for the stars. Dream big. That's my third point. Dream big, think big. You're never too young to reach for the stars. You're never too young to imagine that you can become anything, and use what you have now. What you have now, it's time to get what you want in the future. Thank you.
Wow, what an amazing video. I hope you have learned from it. Right about now, we'll be having our skill acquisition. So please bring out your books, bring out your barriers. Let's have all forms of distractions gone away from us. We don't need them, because you don't know when we need all these skills. They come in handy sometimes. So please sit back, relax, and right before our skill acquisition, we'll be having an amazing interview. We'll be right back.
Hello, I'm Adelo Lawal, the MD of Honeypool Catering, popularly known as Chef Lokes. Life as a teenager was a very, very tempting one, in the sense that it's a time a person can be lured away from his plans in life, even the plans of his parents, even the plans of God concerning it. My own experience was, I realized early that my teenage years was the time I was to lay foundation for the success that I wanted to enjoy in life. That was definitely when we're in secondary school. I think your senior pastor was also in the same school. I think, Pastor Balajido was also there. One of the things I laid the foundation for then were kind of in different ways. One, the time to wake up, a 5 a.m. wake up time, is something that I've kept from then till now. And online has helped me so much in my business. Also, it was during that time I started my first love for catering. There was no chance to cook in school, definitely, but there was always this thing we used to do for everybody's birthday. They call it Gary cake. I was a specialist at it. So along the line, I developed interest for that while I was in school. But basically, I tried to keep myself modeled the way the school and my parents tried to model me. And thank God it is speaking for itself today. Now, when I was in university, I also liked cooking. But along the line, I was studying agric economics and extension. I decided within myself that despite any certificate that I get, I want to run a business. I wasn't going to be a salary earner in any way, not for one day. So I got my mind focused, always very prayerful, always waiting for God's direction. So as soon as I graduated, finished my NYSC, I joined my family company. Family company was running one of the big companies in Nigeria as the only branch running canteen, taking care of their staff. I joined there and I was there for like 4 years. Within the 4 years, I was able to move the company to international standard. I came in as GM, I was an executive director. I, built about 13 branches within the 4 years, both Lagos and Ogun States. Increased their outdoor catering, that is the parties, weddings, and receptions, and all that. Increased that capability. Then, about 4 years after, God told me I should leave exactly what I was doing and start again. It's a very difficult thing to do. You're an executive director of a company, you have built a company from 1 branch to 13. Very comfortable, good money, official car, traveling allowances and all that. This wasn't a plan I planned before. So if I had planned it before, there was going to be money kept somewhere. But eventually I had to heed to the voice of God and I left. And I started my own company, Onipu. And if I say God has not been faithful, I'll be telling a lie. Or I say that I've not been more successful than I would have been, I'll be telling a lie. But the good thing is that I started afresh. And a lot of factors played into it, which I will tell you, I will let you know. A lot of factors. Number one was God. Because my faith in God was what kept me going through the trying times. There's no business that starts without its trying time. Also, I was very, very diligent. The Bible says here that a man diligent in his business, he will stand before kings, not before mean men. I was very diligent at everything I was doing. 3, I had focus. Just like I had from when I was young, I had 2 kids to that age, not letting anything distract me. Other types of business came along the line. I was advised to go into farming, I was advised to come and join some particular companies, but I focused that no, my dream of being the most recognized industrial caterer in Nigeria must come to pass. I won't lie to you, I'm practically there. Because I've not worked with companies in Nigeria, including multinationals. I've been running up to 30 companies, including hotels that are multinationals. Run canteen for them, do a lot of work for them, scattered business all over the country. Then another area is contentment. A lot of our people are not contented. Let me tell you something in life. You will crawl, you will walk, you will run before you fly. You can never ever skip any of those things. A lot of youth these days don't want to be patient enough to crawl. they want to jump into it really cannot work. Most things that will happen, that we strive for in life, even has to do with the way nature has made things be. You can't jump from crawl to fly. It's not possible. There are times that things will be so difficult. There are times that things will go well. The time that it is difficult, that is where your passion now comes in. If, for instance, anybody who's trying to run into catering, it's not an easy thing to do at all. I'll give you one example. When I left the first company I was working with to start mine, I had no kitchen, I had no equipment, I had no uniforms. The first job I took was from where I bought my first set of uniforms. I can't forget that color. It was burgundy. That was the first time I knew what burgundy was. Burgundy. I can't forget the person that gave me the job. From then, I started buying one burner today, one burner tomorrow, one burner next tomorrow. Now, if I tell you now, I have a 2,000 capacity kitchen in Maputo. I have another 2,000 capacity kitchen in Oba. I have a 1,500 capacity kitchen in Ibadan. I have another one in Ibadan that is 500. I have a kitchen in Ijebu, I have in Abuja, and I have in Ilesha. Started with one set of uniform and one burner. Outside all those kitchens, I still run everyday catering for a minimum of 3 multinationals and a lot of other companies. But I started with one set of uniform and one burner.
So what would you say is the most important thing to have in this job? Outside the capital, what are the most important things you need to have before you begin?
First things first, you must have passion for it. It's that passion that makes you stay in when things are going tough. See, there's nothing better than making money from something you enjoy doing. You need to create passion for it. I'll tell you, there is when you make the best food, when you make the best recipe, it has to depend on how many times you have gotten it wrong. Nobody will tell you the first day I got to the kitchen to make this, I got it right. I know how many times I tried okra soup and I didn't get it. Let alone you talk of I'm a seafood specialist. Let alone you talk of seafood, which is very difficult to prepare anywhere. So you can imagine how many times I've brought lobsters, I've brought crabs, and I've gotten it wrong. It's not how many times you fail on it. It's getting to the promised land. Getting to where you plan, the goal you have set. And there's no higher goal you can set for yourself. With God, your passion, your dedication, and your hard work, there is no way you will not get there. There will be stumbling blocks. It's never ever smooth for anybody. You talk about the great people that have done catering in this country. All of them had one issue or the other, but see where we all are today. My business has even grown outside of Nigeria. We do catering in UK.
Great.
Wow, what an amazing video. I hope you have learned from it. So right about now, we'll be having our skill acquisition. So bring out your books, bring out your biros. Let's avoid all forms of distractions because you don't know when these skills will come in handy. We always need them.
I'll be teaching you guys how to make small chops, and I'm here with my assistant David. So we'll be working together how to teach you guys how to make small chops. So I'm sure you all have your pen and your notepad with you because I want you all to take note of everything, and because I'm going to give you guys assignments, and we are going to pick the best 3, and there's going to be prizes for the best 3. So please come along with me as I show you the ingredients, what we'll be using. We have our flour here, sugar, groundnut oil to fry, spring onions, carrots, bell pepper, onions, then minced meat, butter, cabbage. This is nutmeg, seed nutmeg, Maggi, dry pepper. This is a milk flavor. This is going to be used for our puff puff. And salt to taste. Then our grater to do the grating. And some yeast for puff puff. Thank you. So now, next thing is I have to wash my hands before cutting. So it's important to keep good hygiene. So I'm going to wash my hands before we start cutting. So David here is going to be cutting some of the ingredients we'll be using right now. So we have our garbage cut out. So the next thing is going to cut the spring onions. While he's cutting the spring onions, I'll be working on the carrot to grate it. So I want you all to take note of something. When I was doing the previous carrot, I used this big size for the carrot, but right now I'm going to be using this smaller part for this carrot. So this carrot, I'm going to be using it for the samosa sauce. So it's 2 different things. The big one is for the spring rolls, then this tiny one is for samosa. So while David is cutting the pepper, so please try and see what he's going to be doing too. I'm sure you can see the difference between the 2 carrots. Samosa onions. So for the samosa onions, it's not going to be as big as this. The big one is for the spring rolls. For samosa, it's going to be tiny. Everything about samosa is tiny, small, small, small. Okay, so we want to heat up water for the puff puff. Not boiling water, just for it to be warm a little bit. We want a fast reaction while mixing the puff puff so it can rise very fast. That's why we are using warm water for it. So while we are waiting for the water to be warm, we have our flour here. So now we'll be making use of the yeast, the nutmeg, sugar, and salt to mix the puff puff. And also our milk flavor, just to give it another flavor. Is adding the yeast, sugar, salt, dry pepper. It's optional, so it depends if you want and if you don't want. And our milk flavor. then the nutmeg. But if you have normal milk, normal powder milk at home, you can make use of it. So now we mix it with our warm water. Please, while you are doing it at home, pour the water little by little, so you don't have a soft dough. So I'll keep adding water to it. It shouldn't be too thick and it shouldn't be too soft, so it's in between. So you need to mix it well. You keep mixing till there's no lump. Yeah, bit. What he's trying to do here, we are trying to get a fluffy puff puff. So he's trying to beat it to be smooth, so we can have a fluffy puff puff. Okay, we are testing our puff puff to see the sugar and the salt. So we need to cover it. So our puff puff, we've covered it. So we are moving to the next stage, which is making of the sauce for the spring rolls and the samosa. Right now we are here to make our sauce, the spring roll sauce and the samosa sauce. So we need to boil the minced meat. Little water. We are making samosa sauce right now. So we use minced meat for samosa. You can use meat or chicken. If you have soft shredded chicken, you can also use it. So depending on what and what you want. So while that is cooking, let's try and clear whatever we've been using to make the kitchen clean. We want it dry. We don't want water into the pot. So we are sieving it. Here we'll be making use of butter. In case if you don't have butter at home, you can use groundnut oil. But very small quantity of groundnut oil is needed right now. And I'm sure you remember when we were dicing the whole ingredients. I told you the tiny one is for samosa, while the big one is for spring rolls. So now because we are doing samosa sauce, we are making use of the tiny carrots, onions, and spring onions. So first thing, your minced meat into the butter. I'm taking part of the spring onions, dry pepper, so if you like your samosa spicy, you can add a lot of dry pepper. But when you are doing an event, you don't have too much pepper because you don't know who you are going to meet outside. So little pepper is required. Our carrot. When you add your carrots, please reduce the heat. Maggi for taste. I'm sure you remember we used salt in boiling the meat. That's why we are not adding salt right now, because we don't want our sauce to be salty. You need sieve because we are trying to drain, if at all there is any oil or butter left inside the pan, we put it inside sieve to drain it out. Yeah, so you put it inside your sieve to drain it out. We want a dry sauce. So spread it out to get cold. So the next sauce we are making is the spring rolls. I'm sure you'll be wondering, cabbage. Yes, it's only in spring rolls we use cabbage. We don't use cabbage in samosa. So that's why we have cabbage on the tray right now. But every other thing, other ingredient is the same except cabbage. So we are making our spring roll sauce. So butter or groundnut oil. I use groundnut oil. I use butter, sorry. I don't really like using groundnut oil. The smell, the texture, the taste is added to it. Our pepper. Spring onion. Our Maggi. We use 3 cubes of Maggi. So it also depends on the quantity of what you are doing. So for spring rolls, we add sugar to it. So we'll be adding sugar to our sauce. And remember, our light is off. You need to lower your heat. We are adding sugar because of the cabbage. The cabbage is going to take away all the sweetening in the sauce and everything. So the Maggi, that's why the Maggi is much. And that's why we're adding sugar. It's because of the cabbage we have in it. And you all know in the samosa, we didn't do anything like this. So we are putting our cabbage right now. Please keep turning till the sugar is evenly distributed. Thank you. So as you can see, so our carrot is going to be the last thing. We didn't add the carrots into it because if we do that, the whole thing will be so soft. We won't be able to see our carrot again in the sauce. That is why the carrot is being added at the last stage. So you need a sieve to put, because you all know sugar will bring out water. That's why we have water inside, is the sugar. So we need to sieve it out. So the next The next thing we are doing is to make our pastry. What we are going to use to roll the spring rolls and the samosa. So that's what we want to do right now. So you need flour, salt. Then if you like sugar, you can add little sugar. So we need water for our pastry. Remember when we're doing our puff puff too, set the water little by little. You don't pour all at once. So you don't have soft dough. This is going to be thicker than the puff puff because I'm trying to make a pastry. I'm sure you can see. So for our pastry, we'll be needing a non-stick pan. Not the normal fry pan you use in frying at home, a non-stick one. So when we put our pastry on it, we can easily remove it. That's why it's a non-stick. It doesn't gum. So you need a non-stick pan for you to make spring rolls pastry. The first one is just like a trial mode. So it's not salt because we've added flour to the pan. We've used it and there's oil on it. So that's why we are doing this. Just for us to get a rough rock. Can see what I'm saying? So your new pastry pan is going to do this. It's not as if it's bad, it's not. It's a normal thing to happen. So what he's doing right now, this is the pastry for spring rolls, this normal size. But when we are doing for samosa, we are going to use the whole pan full because while we are doing that, I'll tell you when we get to that stage. So you see why we call it a non-stick pan. It's coming out easily. When you are rolling, you are moving clockwise. On low heat, please, low heat. So right now we want to do the samosa. So you are going to see how it's going to be. So our samosa is going to be bigger than the spring rolls. This is it. And if you see, after doing it the first time, it's not thick, it's very light. You can go again the second time. But please don't make it too thick so you don't have big samosa like bread. So along the line, I'm going to tell you why samosa is this big. The pastry is this big. So while you are doing it, always remove your non-stick pan from the gas, from the heat, so it won't be too hot. Because once it's too hot, it's going to get burnt, and we don't want that. So that's why we said always on low heat. So while you are doing it, how you know that it's time for you to remove it? When you look at the edges, you see that it's dry, that it's easy to remove. That's when you know you can remove it. Then you pull it out. Now we've placed our dough on a flat surface. Please make sure you clean your surface and it's dry. Make sure it's dry and clean. So I told you earlier on that samosa pastry is different from spring rolls. So the reason is because we are going to divide this into 4. That is why it's this big. So we are going to cut it into 4. So right now it's good. David is going to show you. Make sure you do it equally. No, do it half so they can see it. So divide it into 2 so you can get accurate sizes. So now we have, this is what you get at the end of it. So you remove it 1-1 before it gets dry. And remember, we have both front and back. So our sauce that we kept, I'm sure you kept it inside the sieve. Remember to put it in the sieve. We want dry sauce. So our sauce, we are going to make use of it now. We've all seen, when we go to parties, you see the triangular shape, something inside your small chops. That is samosa. So we are now going to teach you how you are going to get that triangular shape right now. That is what we want to do right now. So this is it. Then you move to this place. 1, left, right, move, 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 then okay, so right now we are doing the spring rolls. Add your sauce to the pastry. At the tip of it, of your pastry, add your sauce to the tip, then you roll. From the name too, you can get it, spring roll. They are rolling it. So move it, then keep rolling. Make sure it's tight when you are rolling. Then you put gum at the tip. So we have it. This is it. And please, when you are doing that, always finish with one before you do the other one. If you know you want to do with spring rolls first, do your pastry for spring rolls. Finish rolling it before you move to samosa, so you don't waste your dough or waste the pastry. Yeah. You see why we don't want wet or watery sauce? Because of what you are going to do. If your sauce is watery, all these things are going to be cutting off because of the water. So that's why we have to put it inside the sieve. Huh? Mm. Please, while you are doing that, always remember to check your puff puff. So after this, we are going to check our puff puff, and I'm sure by now, when you put your pot, we need to dry it. You don't want water inside, so the oil won't splash on you. So we want to fry everything we've done now. So once your pot is dry, you can pour your oil. Add onions to give us another scent. Don't see if it has anything, it's just for the scent. This is how your puff puff should be. So now we are going to fry our spring roll, samosa, and puff puff. So to do your dough, is either you try this method, but I'm sure you can't do it, but practice, they say, makes perfect. So you keep learning and learning for this particular method. But the simplest way you can do it, be cutting it one. You take it little by little and drop into the oil. Please watch your hand, don't dip your hand into hot oil. And lower the heat when you are frying it, so it can fry deep inside. So you keep doing it one. What we want is a golden brown puff puff. Golden brown. On low heat, so it can cook. And don't lower it too much, so your puff puff won't soak oil. We want a golden brown puff puff, something like this. Can you see? Please be careful when you're frying. So spring rolls and samosa. So the next thing, we fry our spring rolls and our samosa. Please be careful when you're dropping. Okay, so right now we are done. So I'm going to give you a recap of everything we've done right here. So for you to make your puff puff, you need flour, sugar, yeast, salt, and pepper. It's optional. Then for your spring rolls and samosa, you need cabbage, carrots, spring onions, pepper, salt, and Maggi. For the samosa, you also need minced meat. So that's all about making spring rolls, samosa, and puff puff. So I'm going to call somebody here to come and taste all we've been doing since morning. So please, can we have one of our brother or sister here to come and help us out? Okay, so we have Brother Temi here with us. So he's going to do the tasting for us. Wow. So can you pick a spring roll, samosa, and puff puff and tell us what you think about it?
Okay, what's this?
That's samosa.
Samosa. You need to come and taste out of this.
That's spring rolls.
Wow.
You can show them the inside.
I love this. Wow. Please, I'm packing everything when I'm going.
No problem.
This tastes so good. Wow. This is perfect. I really love it. Oh, thank you very much.
You're welcome. So I want to hear the same report from you guys. Thank you very much.
Welcome back, guys. We have come to the end of day 1 of today's conference. Hope you had an amazing time. So please tell me in one word what you think of today's conference. And please do not forget to join us for day 2. Have an amazing time. Bye.